Hi everybody, welcome. I just wanted to let everybody know I'm back, and I thought I would do a short talk about the issue of rapport. Now I brought this up in my Minefield Psychic Spies video a couple months ago, and that talk is really just about the CIA's data dump regarding their Stargate program and their work with people like Uri Geller in remote viewing and telepathy stuff. And then at the end of that talk, I mentioned the fact that I think a lot of scientific inquiry in regards to the whole science of, how much is really possible with telepathy and remote viewing, a lot of it's very muddled because the factor of rapport has to be taken into account when you're dealing with psychic connections. Now, the word rapport just means to have a relation or connection, especially a harmonious one, with another person or group. And so when two people are in rapport with each other, they're really in a vibrational harmony. Now, this really affects so many aspects of our social reality. And anybody who's in sales knows that, building rapport is a huge factor in not only getting the customer to buy something from you, but also to get them to be a repeat customer. So rapport building it's a huge aspect of our social dynamic. And every last one of us knows, people that we feel like we're in a rapport with, and then we have the people that we just can't relate to, can't connect to. The empathy and the telepathy are going to be far stronger between people who have a rapport and people who do not. So when it comes to things like remote viewing and remote influencing and obtaining information in a non-local way, it's much more likely that this ability, even if it's just really subtle, will be enhanced by a magnetic connection between two people. Now, a lot of people have imagined, having a connection to a person being like having an energetic cord between two people. When a really strong rapport is formed, like between husband and wife or between family members or close friends, then those energy cords, are formed. And a lot of people visualize it that way. And I think really what it gets into here is the astral dynamic and the etheric body has to be brought up again, because these cords are energetic, but it has everything to do with the light body and the chi energy. So rapport is something that, usually means something positive. It means you're really in a sympathetic resonance with someone else or a group. But there's also people who, discuss rapport in a negative kind of way as well, like such as with possession or obsession in the occult way, like an entity that's feeding off of someone would be in a rapport with that person, and whereas the victim is basically being victimized by the rapport. But usually rapport really means and is defined as, a positive, harmonious connection and relation. And it allows for greater energetic and exchange and communication. And a lot of communication is nonverbal. A lot of it is verbal as well. A lot of it, you get to know somebody, you know their habits, you can predict things about them. But it goes much further than that, and I think any person who's really had deep relations and explored consciousness knows that, like what Sheldrake is doing with some of his experiments, with somebody that you often, you'll sense, you'll think of them, and then suddenly they're calling you on the phone, and that kind of thing. And that happens a lot to people who have that level of energy connection and a conscious, some conscious awareness of it. So much of this is perceived as subjective, and there's a lot of scientific circles that just absolutely are triggered by the whole subject, and they've really criticized Sheldrake and they poo-poo it all. Then, of course, you have the opposite side where you have these flaky New Agers, and they really are just, like cold readers, psychic cold readers. They form a rapport with you to get as much information and to get the information flowing so that they can start picking up on things. But some of this is clearly the transference of non-local information from mind to mind, and distance doesn't seem to matter. And I really think that's like a huge part of our control system. You can go further with this and see how that has everything to do with it. So having a rapport with someone is not necessarily required, for like remote viewing and remote influencing, but I think it's clear that it makes it a lot easier and would enhance the positive results, and the ability, with these experiments seems to have seems to have taken into account the factor of rapport. And I think, telepathy is maybe kind of misunderstood, and I'm not saying I'm some expert on it, but it seems to me that telepathy is not so much about, reading a person's thoughts as they're actually happening, but telepathy is more about thoughts creating standing waves. And I really think this goes into a whole nother subject that I'd like to do a separate talk about, which is thought forms. And thought forms really result from thought thinking within and upon itself and creating these standing waves and having patterns. So when you're in a rapport with someone, the thought and the emotion are having, a more of a harmonious synthesis. And so let's say that you have some kind, you pick up non-local information about a person. What you're doing is you're getting their thoughts, but it's in clusters, and it's more about the bigger picture instead of the details of exactly what they're thinking, although sometimes people hear words and whatnot. And once you've built rapport with someone, you've established that connection, or courting, or however you want to look at it. You've established an energetic connection. And if the rapport, goes sour, or the person who is on one side of the rapport is actually being inauthentic about their empathy, because a lot of people fake empathy, and so if you're in a rapport with someone and there's a problem, even if you break the rapport and you cut somebody off, that energetic connection doesn't necessarily dissolve right away. Between especially somebody, husband and wife, or people who are have a physical connection and a familial connection, that kind of energetic connection can be very strong and can really tug on people. It's easier to dissolve an energetic connection or have any kind of influence energetically from someone that you was just a casual acquaintance, or someone that you never had any kind of physical intimacy with. So, breaking a rapport and being able to cut that energy off has everything to do with having that energy sovereignty and being able to command your energy body better. And a lot of this comes down to things like I was talking about in that etheric cleanse video, where you work with your energy body, you work with your etheric body. If whatever visualizations work best, for you, are what you should go with. I really think that things, certain types of movement, such as, for instance, Tai Chi, movement can be extremely valuable in helping you to clear energy and to basically move energy as well, so that you can process and let go. This is really comes down to the emotions and the instincts and these, basic needs that we have involving self-preservation, sex and procreation, and social influence. And all of those things are really like where so much of the issues of manipulation occur. So anyway, I just wanted to put out some thoughts to add to that video, and I'm going to go on and do some other stuff, but I shouldn't be so busy offline much longer. I've been doing a lot of stuff and errands and things. I should be, less busy by next week or so. So I'm going to try to get back to talking about AI again. Anyway, have a great day, everybody.